My name is Genna Delsemme, and I have just finished my teacher certification through Moreland University, and I'm still to write the 2 exams remaining to become qualified as a teacher. And I am not currently employed. I've been out of the workplace for a number of years as I've had 3 little ones of my own. But prior to that, I was working as an occupational therapist, and that was in South Africa in our top special needs school in South Africa. Then I opened my own private practice, and that's the work experience that I have before starting our expat lifestyle in and around Africa. We started in Congo and now we're in Zambia. My first love is occupational therapy, and I'm passionate about occupational therapy. I will always be, and I think I have also developed a passion for teaching through this course. I didn't realize I would love it as much, but now I really see myself going either way, back into occupational therapy or into teaching. And I think I can just say that the Moreland University has made that possible because of their approach to teaching. I didn't realize that it would be so easy to integrate both, and in terms of they're very geared towards a different approach in the 21st century and really teaching to the individual, which is what we as occupational therapists focus on. And I love their approach to universal design principles and just setting up the classroom for every student to succeed. And so because of them, I've really just found myself in a place where I'm stuck between where do I go now? Because I come from a family of educators. My parents were educators for over 30 years and ran private schools in South Africa. And all my cousins are teachers. And I think I took a different career path and went into the medical field along with my brother. And I find myself being pulled back into education and just finding as a teacher, there's just a possibility of having huge impact. And that's what I've really loved about this training. And I've also loved that the two can just overlap so easily because of my training through Moreland. Yeah. So I arrived in Zambia now 4 years ago, and it's been really difficult to register as an occupational therapist here. They have very limited understanding of occupational therapy in Zambia. And I've gone that route of trying to register, and was advised by the head of the American International School here to go and get my teaching certification as a next step. And it was actually such a great piece of advice. And she recommended Moreland University. She just said it's got such a great name for itself. And when I looked it up, I loved the philosophy and the approach. And I think it hasn't let me down one bit. I've been blown away. And I think the fact that it was 9 months as a mom to 3 little ones was also a draw card. And I have done my master's and gone into a specialist field of sensory integration in pediatrics. So I have studied for many years already. And I think I just thought what I've gained from my occupational therapy degree and master's degree is already such a great basis to stepping into the classroom, that I felt like 9 months would be enough of an add-on to be able to step in as an educator. And also having had so much experience in the classroom already working alongside teachers, it just felt like Moreland was a great next step. I think you put in what you put in, you get out, and Moreland give you a large range of reading materials, and their high quality and incredible resources that are made available to you where you don't have to go looking for them, which is one of the things I love the most, is that every single week we had a whole list of assignments that were so enjoyable, and you got out what you needed to prepare you enough for the clinical practical at the end. So we used everything we learned. Each assignment wasn't a waste of time. And with each assignment was this list of reading resources where I learned so much and was able to do my own learning. And I think that is the thing that they train you in, is to allow your students to have choice in learning and to drive their own learning journey and to take responsibility and to not take center stage and be less student fronted in the classroom as a teacher. And they do that so well in the way that you learn through their course, is that they just have this way of allowing you to take on responsibility, and they provide the high quality resources that you need to do that, which is it saves so much time, that it's right there in front of you, and it's up to date research. And being in the medical field and having to keep my points up to date as an occupational therapist every year, I'm so into the latest research, and I found that Moreland is great with that, and they really do pay so much attention to letting you learn in the way that you will teach, which was something that allowed me to then just step into the classroom and be equipped with tools that I'd already gone through figuring out technology myself, and had to do so much learning around that I wasn't afraid to try and experiment with it. And the way that the lecturers taught us, the instructors, it was exactly how we should be as teachers in the classroom, and that I loved as well. They definitely weren't taking center stage through every hour-long online class that we had. And I found that was extremely powerful, that they set great examples and that they did a lot of small group individualized learning experiences with us. And it's a phenomenal course. I'll forever be grateful for the way in which I learned through the 9 months. Okay, so my clinical practical is something that I was blown away by. I didn't realize I would learn that much in 3 months and experience that much growth. And I stepped into the classroom thinking it would be way easier, thinking I was ready to create a positive classroom environment and integrate literacy. I'd already done extensive unit plans and had an incredible mentor who said, you can run with these standards. And I'm a very organized person and prepared and spent hours researching. And when I got into the course and started watching myself in videos, there was just so much space for growth. And it happened in the 12 weeks, which in a way I didn't expect to end up where I did. And I think that is really thanks to my instructor and the feedback that he gave me, and my mentor, who taught me so much that I needed to learn. And he really helped me in the areas of my weakness, and he allowed me to just excel in the areas of my strength, and just took a step back and trusted me and gave me full responsibility. And so what I loved the most was creating a positive classroom environment, and just developed morning meetings that the children all wrote to me about when I left and stepped out of the classroom. And I took responsibility for all the children with special learning needs, because that's my passion, that's my area of strength. And I can just say that with a trained eye, you see it straight away when you step into a classroom, and it becomes so obvious to you where you can help and just scaffold and support in such a natural way. And those children, even after I left, my mentors just gave me feedback about how much they struggled, because it's just an extension of me helping them while I was there. And that's what I loved, is just using both degrees. And I loved allowing each child to feel valued, and what does determination look like in the classroom, and having a growth mindset. And what Moreland was very good at was explaining how we've got to use targeted, specific praise to get children to where we want to. And just experimenting with that in the classroom was what I loved. What was tricky and challenging for me was routines and procedures, because I'm a very relaxed, more gentle natured person, whereas my mentor was far more strict on that. And Moreland had focused a lot on that. And now I see the benefit of it. And I'm so grateful that I had someone like him, because he has set me up for success and just allowed me to see how I can optimize the learning environment. Had I not had him giving me that input on a daily basis initially, I wouldn't have been able to have full control over the classroom environment, where I'm far more individual. He was able to show me how to manage a group. And so it was really this balance of trying to figure out how I can still be have my occupational therapy approach and be a teacher that I want to be, but optimize a learning environment, which, yeah, I think having the help of a mentor and an instructor gets you to the place where you need to end up. And just having those debrief sessions was incredible. And also just realizing that I have been so intentional about assessment. It's something that you've got to know how to do so well as an occupational therapist. You've got 2 to 4 hours with a child up front as a baseline assessment. You've got to have an absolute accurate reflection on standardized testing of what you think is medically going on with the child's profile. And yet stepping into a classroom assessment so different for me, trying to know what to assess, how to assess at an age appropriate level, developmentally where they're at. What am I actually trying to get these children to achieve that I need to assess that they've learned? And I loved learning that piece because and Moreland's whole approach is data-driven instruction. And so from assessment, it sets you up for everything else that you teach. And so my mentor, really just allowed me to see how to take what I'm assessing and put it into the lessons, and that was an incredible learning experience. Yes. Yeah. And yeah, just where it's not easy and where you think you're going to get it because you've had the theoretical knowledge. You got it. The theoretical knowledge is there. Moreland's given you a whole module on it, and then you step in and it's so different. A module on creating a positive classroom environment with routines and procedures in place, and then a whole module on assessment, and you feel fully prepared. But the practical with the way that they teach it, just being able to group children and do small group teaching and not have that whole group instruction approach, which I love about 21st century learning, is just been an incredible to try and get really good at, and it's all based on assessment. Yeah, so that was great.
Yeah, and I guess the next question to me answers itself, but would you recommend Moreland to friends or colleagues or anyone else?
I would say absolutely I'd recommend Moreland University. And I think I had a conversation. I was very heavily involved in the Early Childhood Learning Center at the American School because I love early intervention and that's my passion. And I decided to go, and they opened up their doors to me and just allowed me to come in and have full access to helping them with their curriculum and seeing where it wasn't developmentally appropriate. And one of the teachers said, I'm surprised that you're with Moreland. Isn't it only a 9-month course? And just undermining. And I just said, it's the most incredible 9 months. That's all they need to equip you for the way we need to teach today. And I think, yeah, their traditional training maybe doesn't fit the picture of Moreland, but for where we are now day and age, I think it's an incredible privilege to study through Moreland University because they're up to date with the latest techniques and learning that any educator should have in order to step into a classroom and any environment, any socioeconomic background, any age. That was what I found incredible, is the whole cohort was all teaching different subjects, different ages, and yet all of us came out as teachers at the end and fully equipped to deal with exactly what field we were in. And when I say fully equipped, I feel so ready and so passionate about the way in which I have been trained as an educator for Moreland's approach. So I think maybe it's just that at first you might not see how all of it fits together, the way Moreland developed the program, but then it all comes together in the final stages. And I think they are strongest in Module 8. And it's a lot of work, and you think you're going to be just focused on the clinical and just planning for the classroom and everyday needs of the classroom. I wasn't working prior to that. So stepping into the classroom, it was a new age group I'd never taught before. I had to teach grade 1, which is a very important year in terms of the acquisition of literacy, reading and writing. And yet I was able to really see the benefit of the assignments that went along with every week. It feels like a heavy load, but that's where all the learning takes place. And by the end of the 12 weeks, in order to have the growth that you do over those 12 weeks, is really because you've got to just stuck into those assignments, and they really just allowed me to bring all my learning together that I'd done over the 7 prior modules, and then to have an instructor that gives so much feedback, and to video yourself doing teaching was something that we as a cohort all mentioned we would definitely continue with. And I think it's such a valuable tool that they give you to not be fearful of watching yourself teach, because that's where the learning takes place, and that's what a growth mindset is all about. And then also being so open to collaboration and having others look in on your teaching, and just not having confidence to do that. That's what Moreland has really left me with, and I think it's something that allows you to continue in professional development, and it's such an easy decision to just be intentional about having others give you feedback on an ongoing basis, because that's how we learn and grow, and that critical feedback is just invaluable.